Hi everybody, it's Sweetsa here at Emanate. So this is our last week in talking about relationships and interpersonal skills in the month of February. So today we're going to talk about 4 strategies to help support you when dealing with a critic. Some might call them a critic, some may call them a bully, some might call them an antagonizer. Either way, you know who they are in your life. Let me put a quick disclaimer in here. Sometimes we do get constructive criticism or criticism in general, and we always need to ask ourselves, right, is there truth to it so that we can help support and better ourselves? However, today we're going to talk about a person that might be in your life in the workplace or outside of the workplace that is a continuous critic. So someone that can be manipulative in nature and makes comments to try to get a rise in you. So these folks can also make comments in order to promote a feeling of being superior towards you or in the relationships or transactions. Sometimes these transactions can come across as though they're humorous or carefree in nature, but they're really not supportive. So these strategies I'm about to go over are not meant to be used in place of a good conversation where you might need to tell somebody kind of how you're feeling. These strategies are meant to be used when those things no longer work and you're trying to actually support yourself. So this is really where you are trying to teach people on how you want to be treated. These strategies are meant to give you a sense of empowerment, but not meant to put someone in a corner or belittle anyone. So strategy number 1, question everything. So sometimes someone can make a critical comment towards us, and it might sound like it's funny or it might sound like it's no big deal, but the reality is when they say it, or every time that they say it, it feels like it's a ding towards you. And after it's said, most of the time we find ourselves trying to rationalize or justify the comment that was just made, which sometimes leaves us into a spiral of just words to prove our action. So an example of this is someone might say to you, "Oh, you're just too nice. I would have done something completely different." Or, "Yeah, you wouldn't really understand how hard I work because you leave here every day at 3:30. So with these 2 comments, you might find yourself wanting to justify, right? "I'm not too nice," or "What do you mean? I work just as hard as you do," and trying to prove that comment and that person wrong. So instead of justifying your decision, you have an opportunity to question their comment. So you can say something like, "Well, what do you mean about too nice? How would you define that?" And give them the opportunity to do that. And they might actually respond with, "Well, you know," and I would use the broken record of, "Well, no, I'm just curious what too nice is. What would you have done in this situation?" And practicing this technique really allows an opportunity for clarity and really dismantling any power plays that might be at hand. And 2, if you practice this enough, it might have someone think twice before they make random comments based on your decision making. Strategy number 2, repeat and mirror. So this comes in handy again when you have someone who's making continuous critiques on your decision making or how you say something. So if someone says, "Oh, you're just being too nice. I would have done something different." In this strategy, what you would have them do is repeat themselves. So it sounds a little like, "Well, I'm sorry, what did you say?" And they would obviously repeat themselves. And then you would potentially ask them again, "What was that?" So this really allows for an opportunity as someone is repeating themselves to really dismantle the power out of the particular critique or comment. And then at that point, you as an individual have an opportunity to really mirror what they're saying that says something to the extent of, "So you're saying that I'm too nice and you would have done something different. Do I have that correct?" So this is really an opportunity for the mirror to be on them versus when a comment is made, the mirror is on you. And in reality, what you're trying to do is, in a loving way, give ownership of that comment towards the person who made it versus you trying to defend it. So strategy number 3 is time delay. And this strategy is similar to number 2 in that it provides space in order for there to be ownership on the person for their comment. So it might sound and look a little like this. Person A says, "You're just too nice, I would have done something completely different." So person B, you would look towards person A and wait like 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, and say, so you're saying I was being too nice and you would have done something differently? I see. And go back to what you were doing. And again, this is an opportunity for someone to take ownership for the comment that they are making. So you're leaving space for that. So strategy number 4 is content process shift. So I'll use a quick example on how this strategy can be the most useful. So let's say you're running a meeting and you're needing to move on a certain initiative in your company or your workplace. And some of your team members are really for moving this quickly. Let's say on the other side of that, some of your other team members feels like this should be rolled out slow and steady. And what you start to notice is something that was starting out as content conversation, right? About the initiative, what time, where, who's going to hear it first, might end up shifting. And what that might look like, right, if people start to get kind of aggravated with certain comments or certain criticism that happens at the table, you might get some behavior that's going on. And a lot of the times what we try to do is we try to push through the content and ignore the process. And what you really want to do, whether this conversation is one-on-one or you're facilitating, is stop with the content conversation and go into the process conversation. And it may look like saying something a little like this: "Hey gang, we were talking about X, Y, and Z in terms of content, but I'm seeing a couple of things happening," and talk about in terms of behavior, right? Voices are getting a little bit louder. People are shifting in their chairs. So I want to address that first before we go to content. And that can be really tough to do. But the reality is if you don't work on that human process piece, you're never actually going to move that content piece over. So again, whatever strategy you're using to communicate or empower yourself, remember to always come into it with a posture of compassion for yourself and for the other person. I hope that helps. Until next time, emanate your best self.